Hi guys! So today I'm going to make a Q&A video where I answer all the questions that you guys left for me on one of my Instagram posts a while ago. So let's get started. Alright, so Sarah Scara asked, what's your favorite yoga pose? I really like inversions and back bends, so any variations of inversions and back bends that I'm capable of doing, I like doing those and incorporating that into some other sort of yoga flow kind of thing. But I usually end all of my yoga flows with an inversion, like a headstand or a handstand, or something else like that. So yeah, I really like doing inversions and things like that. Okay, so next question is from Ansley Corson, and they asked, what does the typical week's worth grocery shop look like for you, and how did your parents respond when you said you were going vegan? So a typical week's worth grocery shop, I usually go just about once a week to replenish my fruit stocks. So right now, since it's summer, I have like the base of the fruit I get is bananas, mangoes, and oranges for juicing. So I just buy lots of bananas in bulk. Like last week I got a box, and actually that usually lasts me about 2 weeks, so I don't really have to get those every week. So I get one of those maybe every 2 weeks. And then mangoes, a lot of the times the grocery store I go to has mango sales, like four for $1 or whatever, so whenever they have those sales, I just go crazy on mangoes. So I have a lot right now stocked up. And then I get usually about 2 bags of 18 Valencia oranges, and I use those for juicing, so I'll just juice a bag and take that jar of juice to school, and I show a lot of that in my videos I make of what I bring to school as a raw vegan. And then I always have tons of frozen fruit, so I'll get big bags of frozen berries, and then bags of frozen fruit medley kind of thing, like peaches and pineapple and mango. And then those bags typically last me 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how much I'm using. I usually make a smoothie, one smoothie every single morning during the school week, so that's why they usually last me about a week. And then to blend the smoothies, I have juices, which last me about a week and 2 weeks. So juices are my other kind of staple, and I get juices once a week, and those are what I bring to school with me for my lunches. And then for greens and veggies and stuff, I don't really have, I kind of just get veggies whenever I need them, because my refrigerator seems to always have veggies and stuff in them, so I don't have to get those all the time. But lettuces, usually I get those at least once a week, like heads of butter lettuce and romaine. So how did your parents respond when you said you were going vegan? I don't really remember actually, but I was vegetarian since I was in 3rd grade, so when I was 9. So when I said I was going vegan, I don't think that was that big of a change for them, because it wasn't that big of a change for me, other than my mental. I mean, it was a big change actually now that I think about it, but for diet wise it wasn't that big of a change, because I was only cutting out a few more things since I'd already not eaten meat, so it was just dairy and eggs. I think they might have been a little bit worried about health, since I wasn't eating these other animal products where I was getting my protein, but other than that, I don't really think they're that worried. They're more worried now that I eat more fruit, because I think that's they're just more worried about the quantity of food I was eating, how I was eating so much more food than I used to. And I've always been a pretty big eater, so I was eating lots of food, and my mom was a little bit worried about that, but I've showed them videos and showed them the research and the facts, and we watched Forks Over Knives together, and now they're cutting out red meat, and they really don't eat dairy very much anymore, and my dad doesn't really eat meat, so that's awesome. So yeah, they responded pretty well. Not as supportive as I'd like, but they've grown with the veganism thing, gotten to like it better. Okay, Sophie Bakazek asked, how do people in high school treat you as a vegan, and what are your plans after high school? People are, I'm not that social, so at my school, if they do have opinions on me and talk about me, I probably don't hear it, and they never say it to my face. So I'm not exactly sure if there's any negative, things that people ask, because no one really ever says anything to me that is really that negative. But actually I do have a lot of people who come up to me and are really interested about veganism, and they want to ask me, they think it's really cool, and they always asking me questions, and oh, I saw your YouTube, and the banana ice cream you made on your Instagram was really cool, and they're really interested in it and seem to be really open-minded, and If I, tell them things, they like listen, and they usually don't really argue back. Sometimes they'll ask questions like, where do you get your protein? Doesn't all that fruit, like, isn't that too much sugar? And then I just explain it to them, and they're all pretty open about listening to it. So I haven't really came across any negative things that people have said, unless they're saying it behind my back or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's been pretty positive. And what are my plans after high school? I don't know. I'm doing a lot of high school. I'm doing probably one of the hardest things I could do in high school, like taking the hardest classes and really challenging myself a lot. So that would probably lead me to going to college. Going to college isn't really the ideal thing for me. I probably will end up doing it just to have that experience and have that background knowledge, and in case, have a degree in something in case my other plans don't work out, which I'm still working on. And my parents really would like to see me go to college, so I'll probably end up going to some college. I'm not sure yet. I think about it, but I try to just kind of focus on, high school right now, but I haven't completely figured it out yet. Okay, Gina Corpora. We went to prom together, and she was in the same group as me. She said, can you get enough protein being vegan and being an athlete? Yeah, totally. Ever since being vegan, I've actually been being way more athletic. I stopped doing sports, but I started running and working out a lot more than I used to, and I seem to have a lot more energy because of the carbohydrates. And the thing about being vegan and eating this lifestyle in abundance is that when you're eating enough calories, you're automatically getting enough protein, because we really only need about 5% of our calories from protein, or 5% protein from our diets. And basically what I like to think of is when people have, let's say, a bowl of cereal in the morning, the most that's really going to be is probably like maybe 9 grams of protein if you're eating like a whole grain, like healthy cereal with, whatever milk, because milk doesn't really have that much protein. You're only having a little bit of it. So if you're eating, someone's eating a typical bowl of cereal with milk, and that's about 9 grams of protein, plus it has animal fats, saturated fats, cholesterol from the milk, maybe, added sweeteners and other things from the cereal, and it's processed. Whereas if I'm having 9 bananas and each banana has 1 gram of protein, I'm getting the same amount of protein without the cholesterol, without the saturated fat, with, potassium and vitamins and minerals and everything you need. And it's high in carbohydrates, it's not processed, completely natural, and it's going to give you instant energy, whereas the cereal's probably not going to, and the milk certainly isn't going to. So when you think about it that way, when I'm eating a smoothie with, 9 bananas and fruit and juices mixed together, I'm getting the same amount of protein, just with all the benefits and none of the horrible things. So you'll definitely get enough protein if you eat the right amount of food. So there you go. Okay, Amanda Sorgi, Amanda, she goes to my school, asked, what do you do when you go out eating with non-vegan friends or your boyfriend? Because my boyfriend's not vegan. When I go out to eat, usually I go to vegan places, and my boyfriend's totally fine with that and loves going there and likes eating that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. I don't really go with non-vegan friends. I don't really have that many non-vegan friends, but my family's not vegan, so if I go out to dinner with them and, I'm going with them, they're going to a non-vegan place, and it's like their choice, and I'm going with them as their daughter, I will always find something, order, there's nowadays, and the restaurants we usually go to, they're not really chains. They're usually kind of like local restaurants that are like kind of in the beach cities. So there's usually a vegan option because they're, new and into the, what everyone else is eating. So they always have a vegan option most of the time. So I'll get that, or I can order something and just say, can you please take off the meat and cheese or whatever. And people are, like, the restaurant people are always really, like, open to doing that and serving you and giving you, what the customer wants. And that's kind of what they're supposed to do. So if you just ask politely and tell them, your dietary needs, they'll be totally fine with that. And it depends on what restaurant you're going to. Like, Asian restaurants, you'll always find something. You just eat rice and stuff, or, anything. You'll definitely find something vegan. And if you don't, order salad and, take off other things, and you'll be fine like that. Or you can just eat before. Or you can bring your own food if you really want to do that. I've done that before. It's really not weird, because it shouldn't be about the food. It should be about, like, the people you're with and the conversation and what, the people you're with and spending time with them. Alright, so Danny or Seg asked, what are some of your favorite vegan dinners? Need some inspiration. Okay, so for like vegan cooked dinners, I like pastas and gnocchi, which is like the Italian little potato things, are really good, and they're high carb, and you just have to check and make sure there's no egg whites in any of that stuff, but most pastas don't have that. So pastas are really good, or you can try like corn and rice pasta if you want to be gluten-free. Any kind of sauces, and then when you make the sauce, you can like add like zucchinis and mushrooms and other vegetables in the sauce and make it creative. That's good. I mean, salads, if you want to go raw, just make big salads. And what I love to do is add like mango and pineapple in the salads instead of adding a dressing, so it like gives a bunch of different flavors. That's really good. Rice dishes, you can make rice with tons of different, just experiment with different sauces, like low sodium soy sauce or sweet chili sauce or hummus. Hummus and rice is so good. I love hummus. I've been using hummus a lot lately, so hummus is really cool too. Hummus with potatoes, hummus with rice, hummus with pasta. You can do hummus to everything. Just make sure it's one that has no oil or limited oil. And potatoes, obviously. So any of those base ingredients like pastas, rices, potatoes, other grains like quinoa and stuff that are high in carbohydrates, and even beans, if you want to throw in beans and lentils and things like that that are more hearty. Use those as your bases and just add vegetables and sauces and spices and no oils and no salts, and you're totally good. You can just experiment with so many different things. It's really fun. Or just go with a simple salad with some fruit and stuff. So you can really get experimental with your dinners, or even oatmeal sometimes if you just want to, if you're doing a raw till 4 thing and you want something cooked for dinner. Making your own oatmeal with like chopped up fruit and cinnamon and things like that is really good too. So I hope that helps. And also, if you're really stuck on other things and you want something more exotic, you can get vegan cookbooks. Go online, go on YouTube and find, you know, high carb vegan things. And if they add oil, you can just try to take out the oil and kind of experiment and make it your own. Okay, so Fruity Leo asked, how did you meet your boyfriend? I just met him at school, really. He's a senior and I'm a junior. And one of our like mutual friends kind of like got us to meet each other. And yeah, we've been going out for a year and a half, like almost, it'll be 2 years in August, so like a year and a half. Alright, last question is from Happy Loving Vegan, and they asked, how often do you brush your teeth and what is your dental routine like? Alright, so I actually, well, I brush my teeth like twice a day, and I use, God, I need to make a separate video about this. Okay, so first of all, what I don't do, I don't brush my teeth right after I eat because that's when your enamel is really soft and weak. I drink tons of water. I drink 1.5 gallons of water every day to flush out, you know, everything after I've eaten. So once I've eaten, I drink my water and just kind of rinse your mouth around and you get all this stuff out. I don't eat dried fruits, and I don't really eat dates either, which I'm not saying don't eat, you know, things like that, because dried fruits are fine, but they just, I don't really like, I like, you know, juicy, fresh fruits more. And a lot of dried fruits get stuck in your teeth. So if you are eating dried fruits and things, just make sure you brush your teeth and floss. Not right after, but, you know, a little while after. And also, I make my own toothpaste, and I just made my own recently, and I've been using it, and I really, really like it. And I'm going to make a video on how to make your own toothpaste. I just ran out of the ingredient that I need to use. It's like 3 or 4 ingredients, and I ran out of one of them, so I need to get it so I can make the video again on how to make it. I use this bamboo toothbrush that's like all recycled and stuff. Not that I don't even think that has anything to do with how I brush my teeth or whatever, but I mean, if you can use eco-friendly floss and toothbrushes, that's awesome too. I floss about once a day at night before I go to bed, just because like pineapples and fruits like that can get stuck in your teeth, so I floss. And I use those little plastic throwaway ones, except I don't throw them away, I just wash them and keep using them. And yeah, it would be really beneficial if you could find like recycled ones, and I'm planning on just throwing them in the recycling bin when I'm completely done with them. So just try not to be wasteful, you know, turn the water off when you're brushing your teeth, and yeah. So my routine's kind of just like everyone else's, except that I use my own toothpaste and I don't brush my teeth right after I eat. So I hope that answers all of your questions, and I hope that helps, and I hope this video was interesting, or, you know, helped you at all, or you found out something you didn't know before. I don't know. But anyways, if you have any more questions for me, you can totally just leave them down below or leave them on my Instagram. So I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.